Hi guys, welcome back to Behind Bars. I'm Keith, and today we are at Sip Guzzle to interview my dear friend and mentor, Steve Schneider. You might know him from the romantic comedy Hey Bartender that came out a while back. Come on inside and meet him.
It's a good way to start.
Okay,
Steve.
we're ready.
Yeah, cheers Steve. Thanks for sitting down with me today, brother.
Y'all should have heard what he just said off air. Jesus.
I'm excited to have you on the show. I guess to begin with, we want to you inform us about how you started or why you became a hospitality professional, like what led into that.
Well, from the time of recording, it goes back now 21 years. I was serving in the U.S. Marines. I had a head injury, which sidelined me and kind of derailed my career. Walked by a bar that said help wanted, and you know, when you're in the military, you don't make much money to begin with, and I had extra time because the bulk of my time was going to like brain rehab and all this like doctor's appointments and stuff. So got a job on the weekends, bar backing, and this is back when the World Series of Poker was cool and it was on ESPN. And we would play poker after our shifts. I was the young kid bar back, cleaning up puke, you know? And we'd play afterwards and we'd use like little sip straws as chips. And sometimes I would leave with nothing. Sometimes I'd triple my money. It was great, but I was the one who had to make drinks for the rest of the bar team.
Right.
That's how I got to know how to pour beers and make drinks this was like disco shots and like beers on tap, really. And then, then the weekends they would say, hey, Steve, hop back here and help us, you know, because I knew how to make drinks. And then that's kind of how it got started. And then I was having so much of a good time. It was a nice escape from what I was going through in the Marines at the time, trying to like rehab my brain and, you know, deal with all that stuff in the middle of my enlistment. I was just trying to find my place in the world because I knew post-military life was near.
So I know a little bit about how you ended up at EO and meeting Plata, but why don't you tell us kind of how this led into employees only and you kind of becoming the face of that program and Hey Bartender and all of that?
Well, how my employees only career started is kind of fun. I was in Washington, D.C., like I had mentioned, and when I got out of the military, I competed in this like speed bartending competition, and I won it a bunch of times. And it was the first time I got a taste of real money, was from these the prize money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when you're in the Marines, you don't make much money. When I was working at this bar, sometimes it would cost me more money to like park and eat and everything that I'd make and take home. So sometimes it would cost me money to like go to work, but it was fun as shit. You know what I mean?
Too, you know?
So. I was enjoying myself, and once I won these competitions, I got noticed by this guy. He used to do work out of Las Vegas, but was from the Washington, D.C. area, and he sort of said, hey, I'm opening this new spot, and this is, you know, pre-cocktail revolution.
Yeah.
And he was older, an older guy, older than me, you know. He's probably in his 30s.
Okay, yeah.
But when you're 22, 21, you know, I'd been bartending a few years, you know, at high volume at this like live music venue. Yeah. And I won these competitions and it was dope. And I made some real money, and then he said, hey, I got this spot opening. It was the first time I learned real proper free pouring techniques, and I learned about just using fresh juices, and I learned about the spherification was cool back then too. It was all this other stuff.
You learned that back then, the calcium, whatever.
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah, it was really cool at the time. But my best friend, his mother was sick, and I wanted to come back home to New Jersey. I grew up in Bergen County, New Jersey, just right outside Manhattan. And I just wanted to kind of be there because she was an important person in my life too. So I took the first job I can get at a place in Hoboken called the Elysian Cafe. And so the Elysian Cafe. So I worked there, and I was doing the cocktail menu. I was making my own ginger beer when nobody was doing it. And then this guy came in. His name was Anthony. He was a writer and editor of Mr. Boston's Cocktail Guide.
Ooh.
The little red book.
Yeah,
it's been around forever. Yeah. And he coincidentally worked at this place, or with the owner of the Elysian Cafe. So he asked him, hey, you know anybody that can create a cocktail for my wife's 40th? So he's like, you got to talk to Steve. So I made this cocktail, and you know, he loved it, and his wife loved it, and you know, he was a writer for this thing, so he put me in the book. You know what I mean? And he hit me up later on and he said, Steve, I have an event at the Highline Ballroom, which was over here in Meatpacking. It was for the New York City Food and Wine Festival. So I had about 3 weeks to prepare, and I had this like 10 ingredient drink with strawberries and champagne and God knows what else, gin, and I don't remember exactly what was in it, rhubarb and whatever the fuck. I don't know, threw everything I had at the fucking thing. Overly complicated, young, motivated bartender type shit. And I show up and we share a bar with the employees only team. And we hit it off right away. And the whole team was there. All the guys we used to work with, they were all fucking there. Milos Praca, Ivan, Asaf, Jay Dushan. The only people that weren't there were the ones working that night. I think Dev and Igor were working. And for me, Employees Only was New York City. It was, one of the first handful of cocktail bars that were pioneers. And I walked in there for the first time in my life, and I saw the bartenders carrying themselves a certain way. And I was like, I want to be that. So my resume I had worked on fucking for those 2 days straight. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing resume. And I give it to Igor, and Igor opens it and closes it right away. And he goes, U.S. Marine, I like that. We can use a little discipline around here. So you want to come in tomorrow and train? I was like, I didn't even go inside. And I was like, all right, we're in.
All right, beautiful.
And I trained with Barazza for a day, and then I was stocking the next day. Got an apprentice jacket in 3 weeks. Principal bartender jacket in a year. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that fast.
Yeah. It was just the right time, and I was just the right person for that team.
I knew you had a record, but that's like...
I'd already been bartending for like 6 years,
Yeah.
So it's like I had enough experience, but I needed, with my experience and talent, I needed real New York experience.
Yeah.
I needed the mentors.
Right.
I needed the people that could guide me to get me to where I wanted to be, which was a bar owner. And the founders of VO, they were bartenders themselves.
Yeah. So one other topic I'm curious about, because I have no knowledge of this one, is as a guy who came up in New York and really built a name for yourself in the cocktail and hospitality community, then you moved to Singapore, opened Employees Only, became eventually the senior partner of that place. How are they different? Asia, and then you also have bars in China and other things, or a bar.
Singapore was my first, from the time of this recording. It was 8 years ago now. It took a few years off my life. So, you know how it is when we went into Employees Only at this time. It was an established team that when the new person came on, it was an entire staff trained as one person.
Yeah, there's a whole structure in place.
When I moved to Singapore, it was me trying to train an entire staff about what I'm talking about here, because we were so different. Even to this day, we're different than anybody else there. And the cocktail scene has grown so much, and we continue to be different. I did that for about maybe 7 months, 6 months, 7 months, 14, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I remember the first day I took off. And this is really, really funny, but Les Mis, the musical, they brought it to Singapore. I think it was like the London cast or some shit. And it was a Sunday. We had been open for a few months, and every day I was on. And somehow I was convinced to just go there on a matinee on a Sunday afternoon. And I show up there and I sit down, and I'm not like a huge musical theater guy, but I know enough. I appreciate it. So we show up to this Les Mis show, and it was amazing. The costumes, the music, the lighting, everything, the blocking.
Was it the New York Broadway version of the traveling?
The London or whatever the hell, the London's version of that. And everything was perfect for me. But then I sat there and thought, I was like, I bet somebody fucked up. I couldn't tell, but somebody fucked up, I bet someone's back to the stage right now beating themselves up like I am about service, about how something went wrong. But it basically let me let go and say, hey, take it easy. Like, you're good. The numbers are good. They're getting there. Don't get so crazy about the lighting and the music and the movement and the this and the that. The drinks itself, it's like, just take it easy. It kind of put things in perspective for me. And then I remember, we opened up in June. I remember in January, I walked in and I was like, wow, everybody's good. they got it. They didn't get it until they got it. And then once they got it, boom, off to the races, right?
Yeah.
And then that was such a good feeling. And it was the most proud feeling up there, the top, 3, 4 most, pride I've ever had in the bar was to see these kids in Singapore who had worked so hard just to get it, just like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, that was my initial experience in Singapore and how I was able to overcome it.
Yeah.
And then the next project got a little easier. The next project got a little easier. And on this project now, for me, I mean, easy is the wrong term. It's just
you know what to do.
Yeah, a little bit more confidence going in about what needs to be done, and a little bit more optimism. Like, hey, I can do this, because you need to have done it. You did it. I did it. I can do it again. I've done it again. I've done it again. I've done it again.
Yeah.
It's like I'll be all right. I know it's not necessarily a formula because all places are different. Different feelings I want for different bars. I have a bar in Shanghai called The Odd Couple, where it's more of like a bright lights, 80s, loud music, kind of fun atmosphere like that, wacky, kind of a wacky bar. When I go up the stairs at The Odd Couple, the first thing you see is this big like Pac-Man game, but me and my partner Shingo, we're the characters and stuff, and yeah, there's like
playable.
You play it, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had a custom video game made, so it's amazing. You play with it, yeah. So you walk in there and then you turn around and you see all the bright lights and stuff like that, and there's a certain, again, vibe and energy you want to see going on. And I picture myself as a cameraman walking behind the customer. I try to think of that scene every time I walk in. And this, I'm still trying to figure out here, Sip and Guzzle. I'm trying to figure out what that scene is.
Right.
It takes time. I have a vision.
It's got a good feel, if I'm honest, when you walk.
Yeah.
It does.
Thanks.
I've been in a few times, but I know what you mean, like maybe finding its identities.
Yeah.
You know.
All about identity,
Yeah.
And that's our drinks here at Guzzle have a clear identity.
Yes, they do. That's my kind of jam, to be honest, comfort drinks.
Comfort drinks, we call it. Yeah, it's basically
I took that from you, by the way.
drinks. Yeah, it's drinks with flavors you love.
Yeah.
Classics, riffs on classics, highballs, beer, wine, stuff that you and I drink when we go out.
Most bartenders drink when they go out.
That's kind of our identity here. The food is kind of street food, izakaya based. So the bartenders here, we wear like Henley shirts and denim workwear, coveralls. Downstairs at Sip, which is Shingo's bar, is more Japanese in style, more Japanese ingredients. There's hand-cut ice and Japanese glassware, more elevated ingredients, more prep-intensive drinks. Every drink down there takes a few days to prepare at minimum,
Yeah.
The food down there is like Wagyu beef and caviar and hand rolls. Everything, the bartenders are buttoned up, they're dressed nice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the dynamic, and it gives a clear-cut identity for both of our floors here. Guzzle has an identity, the comfort drinks and street food down there has the more elegant Japanese style of trying to perfect one item at a time. Shingo and I's friendship and mutual respect for each other. When I was doing my thing in Employees Only, he was doing his thing in Angel Share. And we were in the same roles, just completely different styles, but always had mutual respect, and that's where our relationship started. We became friends before he was able to speak English. We just liked each other. You just see someone you just like. Yeah, I just liked him.
It's like with me for Takuma, which is the same roles we had at the same time.
He's just cool. Yeah, you just like that guy.
Yeah,
I'm like, I love that guy. What about it? I don't know, something about him. I love him. It just, we just hit it off. Every time we were next to each other, we just had some kind of special magic that I couldn't quite put my finger on. Just the dynamic between our drink styles, and he's a funny guy. Just the fact that our humor, it works perfectly. So I was like, Shingo, we should open a bar together, me and you. We should just do it. He was like, really, where? I'm like, Shanghai, because I always wanted to get into Shanghai. So he's like, you really want to do this? So I was like, yeah. And then 10 days later, he had a space and a contract for me. Then we were off to the races. About 6-7 months later, we were fucking open.
Wow. Can I ask why Shanghai? Had you been before?
2 reasons. One, I love Shanghai. Yeah, I was the second guest bartender ever at Speaklo in Shanghai, and back then, guest bartending wasn't so frequent as it is now.
Yeah,
it was a special event. It was, it was it was a big deal. And I love Shanghai. I think it's so cool. So that's the first one. I love it. It's cool. Love the energy. Secondly, having the place in Singapore, but also being based, in New York,
Yeah.
That's a long-ass flight, and my layover was always in Shanghai. I figured I could fly from Singapore to Shanghai, from Shanghai to New York, from New York to Shanghai, That'd be my kind of triangle. Again, Odd Couple was one bar. We wanted the dual concept. We wanted to fight through the crowd, go in the Shingles bar. That's what we wanted. So we had lunch at my spot in Hoboken, and we're like, all right, we can bring SG Club to New York. You take Guzzle, make it New York, make it you. And then I'll do my thing and Sip. And then we found this space here. This was the old Cornelia Street cafe space, and another amazing New York staple of a bar.
It's an incredible space.
Downstairs is Sip. It was a performance venue, a lot of poetry and live music and stuff. Upstairs was the bar. Finally, we opened up January of 2024, and we've hit the ground running, and this has been the most fulfilling project I've had in terms of I'm back behind the bar, I'm bartending again in New York, and it's such a different dynamic. Yeah. The guests are different. Remember back in the day, there was a lot of allegiance to either one brand or one spirit.
Yeah.
But now the guests here are more, the drink is yuzu flavored, I don't give a shit what's in it. I don't care what the spirit is, let me try it. I want to try, they're willing to try, they're more flavor driven as opposed to a brand or spirit driven.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it took me 13 years to open my first bar helped me so much because I was able to absorb so much information. Even just on Sunday, I'm dealing with a brand new bartender. I mainly have a veteran team here, but there's one that I kind of brought on. He was a barista of mine I really liked. And and that place closed, so I was like, dude, do you want a job? I'll teach you how to bartend. So right now he's bar backing, of course, natural progression. And just a little thing there was a group of people that had been there for a while, and the drink wasn't quite, it was fucking done, right?
Yeah.
But he went to go pick it up and just bust it, and I was like, oh, just ask him first. Because, after you've been drinking a little bit, you can just come back and be like, I'd like a full drink right here, you know what I mean? Yeah. So just something little like that, the things that you learn, it's second nature. It's just how to approach things in different levels of guile and tact, how to deal with different customers and stuff.
Yeah.
There's not many difficult guests anymore for me because I've seen a lot of it. I know how to handle it. I'm kind of numb to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So my final question is we like to wrap it up with wild stories. One guy had a woman throw a prosthetic leg at him. So one or two really funny or absurd or scary bar stories, and maybe something involving Henry Lafargue if you got one.
It was a Friday night, around 7:30, and I get a text from somebody I don't even know, and they're saying, "Hi, I'm blank. Can I get a table for 5 in 15 minutes?" It's 7:30 on a Saturday, or on a Friday, mind you.
Pass that to Evans.
No, I look at the phone, and I'm entertaining people at the bar. I'm like, look at this idiot. What does he think? What do you think we got going on here?
Yeah.
And then I got a message saying, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm blank's girlfriend. We're coming by in 15 minutes. Do you have a table?" And I never unlocked my phone, so it was just the beginning parts of these messages. Yeah. I was like, look at all this. This is so stupid. Yeah. I'm like, no, I don't have this. And this is all in a matter of I don't know, maybe a minute and a half. I was getting these messages. And then about 5 minutes go by.
Any of it.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
About 5 minutes go by, and I get a call from an unknown number. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's do this. So I'm like, hello. And you're like, hi, I'm this person. I'm friends with this person who's this person's girlfriend. I need a table for 5 in 10 minutes. We're on our way. And I was like, hey, appreciate you, but we're a small place. We don't have many seats. They're welcome to hang out at the bar. That's fine. Yeah. And then as he's telling me this, I look at the full text, and it goes on and on. It says it's for Jeff Bezos, right? So, yeah. So I was like, oops. I probably should have read this fucking text. Yeah. So I go to the host and management, and I'm like, hey, this is happening. And it went from 0 to DEFCON 1 in the matter of 2 minutes, but we were able to accommodate. But just a little funny story where I'm sitting there Friday night, no chance. Guess what? they had a good chance.
Worked out.
And it just always started with the work and ended with the work.
Yeah.
All the fun shit aside, the work was always what defined me, I think. At least that's what I tried. Yeah.
That was the example that drove me to make this a career rather than like a side project, a side hustle.
Man, you don't get those questions anymore when people ask what do you really do.
Yeah.
You don't get them anymore, man.
Yeah.
And there's a small community of knuckleheads that made that happen, and I'm happy that I was a small part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely more for me, man. All right, brother. Well,
yeah.
Cheers. Thank you for sitting down with me.